Hey, now I'm live. This is my stack. There are many like it, but this one is mine. It's late, and I gotta stop making stupid movie references. Anyway, hello everyone. I guess numerically speaking, this is a pretty light week for me. If you've watched any of these videos before, you know that this stack tends to have a little more girth, if you will. I'm gonna do a light shuffle, as always, and set them down, face down, even though I totally just saw the last book. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that one being the last book on the stack. But yeah, like I do every week, I'm going to go through the entire stack of books that I got, one by one, as well as two packages. I got a big box and a t-shirt, which apparently you can ship in a bag, a little tiny. This is how I received this. There's a shirt in here, a rather large shirt. I'm a rather large man, and they were able to somehow, hopefully, give me the correct size and stuff it into this tiny little plastic bag. So that's that. Oh, hello! I see my brother and my friend Aaron are here. That's fantastic. Also, people who are normally here all the time because they actually love me. Hi, Josh. And I can hear my brother laughing in the other room like a jerk. And hello to El Posco. That is a name I'm not familiar with. So hello, thank you for hanging out. I'm gonna quit being distracted and show the first book. Oh wow, this is a terrible one to start with. This is from Scout Comics called Broken Eye. It's been a few months since the first one came out. I have no idea what goes on in this. I don't know what this book is, but I apparently wanted to read it, so that's that. I'll get that out of the way because I got nothing. I got nothing for Broken Eye. Here we go. This one's a little easier. This is Batman Killing Time, number 4 of 6 from DC Comics, of course. Only 2 more of this story to go. It's an interesting Batman heist comic, but every now and then they will cut back to a sequence that takes place in like ancient Greece at like some sort of old-timey ancient play or something that's happening. I'm not exactly sure what Tom King is trying to do here with this, but yeah, you can see here you got on one half is people wearing old-timey Greek masks, and on the other half is Catwoman slinking around a building trying to steal something. So like, it's weird. I'm assuming those two threads are going to converge at some point by the end of this storyline, but the advantage of it being 6 issues is you know that it'll end soon. So worst case scenario, if you are absolutely not enjoying the sort of wacky time shift stuff happening in Killing Time, it'll be over soon. Although I'm really enjoying it. 4 issues down, I can pretty much safely say that's a good one. That belongs in the better section of Tom King books. Although that's a pretty competitive section, field, whatever. Here's another one. This is ETER from AWA. This is the second one of these. This is like if it's anything like the first one, which it appears to be, there are 3 short stories in here, all dealing with like a hospital in outer space. The first one of these was my least favorite thing that I have ever read from AWA, and I have read everything they have ever done. So I'm hoping this is better. But I still love them. I love that publisher to death, and I need to go pull my old version of this book out and maybe give it another shot because it did not do it for me the first time. I have not read this one yet. I have read the bulk of this stack, though. It was a pretty small stack for my, how what am I trying to say? It's a pretty small stack compared to the books I usually get every week. So I was able to read a whole bunch of it. Like this. This is Dark Crisis number 1, although it's sort of hard to tell what's happening here on the cover. I got it because it's Jamal Campbell, and I'm a little bit of a fan of Jamal Campbell's artwork here. This looks like, I think this is the next Batman punching through. Oh, there's like, okay, I see it up here. Different planets, like Crisis on Infinite Earths style. This was exactly what I was expecting, which is a little bit of a disappointment, but also kind of a relief. because I don't know about you guys, but I am very over the concept of a superhero crossover event comic. Those don't, I don't know. I don't love them. They tend to crystallize the whole idea of the fact that like comic books are kind of a fluid storytelling medium, and no matter what changes or crazy things happen, they will always sort of snap back and bounce back to kind of the default position. And especially with event comics, they really tend to just reset everything by the end. And there's definitely no stakes, even though they are advertised as like apocalyptic end of multiverse events. Sometimes this was exactly what it was supposed to be. You have the death of the Justice League is all dead and gone. There's a big funeral happening for them outside the Hall of Justice. They got like statues and everything over here. They're dead and gone. So this storyline and this event as a whole looks like it will be dealing with like the next wave of superheroes like Jonathan Kent here and Wally West. There's a lot of Teen Titans stuff that happens in this book. If you are familiar with any of the younger / I don't want to say replacement heroes, but you know what I mean, like the second tier, that implies they are inferior. This book will be for you. I think especially if you are a Teen Titans fan, I think you will be able to comprehend a lot of the stuff in here that went over my head, because I am shockingly unfamiliar with that team and their characters and all the stuff that goes on in Teen Titans. It's just a big mystery to me. I don't know anything. Rudy is here. Hello. You're late, but here. You're not that late. I'm late. I just got started. I'm normally like an hour later than I usually like to do this. I've only done 4 books so far, so you're not that late, all things considered. But thanks for hanging out. Next up, okay, yeah, I'm covering up the title down here. This is Dark Knights of Steel number 7 of 12. We have been on hiatus with this book. They took a little break after the halfway point with issue 6, but we're back in full force here with I'm assuming monthly installments for the last 6 issues. It's a very dependable story. I'm a big fan of this comic, but your mileage will vary based on how into medieval fantasy, sword and sorcery kind of stories that you can handle. If you are turned off by knights and horses and castles and kings and Game of Thrones style royal family bickering and conniving, then this comic is not going to be for you. But I think there's a lot of cool twists on what you normally expect from the main DC universe, including Beast Boy, who I was just talking about with the Teen Titans in the last issue, turning into a dragon. Sorry to spoil that for you, but he turns into a big ass green dragon here, which is fun. It's a lot of fun. This has been a really cool book, and honestly, it's been on break for a while. So the first 6 issues for me, I need to give myself a refresher. But I'm honestly looking forward to just blasting through all 12 issues all at once this thing finally wraps up. So that was Dark Knights of Steel. Stealing the Zelda trade dress down there at the bottom, that is Legend of Zelda, my friends. But I don't care. Ryan deserves every positive response we can give. FYI, Ryan brought me back into comics. Thanks, bud. You're welcome. I'll take full credit. That's kind of fun. I wasn't aware I was doing that for people, so thank you. This comic is Batman 124. I have been getting the cover Bs for this whole run. I believe this is, Delato. Gabriel Delato. Great cover. This is the final issue of Joshua Williamson's very short run on Batman. Not a fan. Not a fan at all. I think he just did like 5 or 6 issues. I don't remember exactly when James Tynion left Batman, but they brought Joshua Williamson on to basically tell one story arc and then leave before Chip Zdarsky is coming on next month with issue 125, which I am very excited for. But the main Batman title for a while before Joshua Williamson even took over, I think James Tynion was kind of phoning it in for a little bit of his Batman run, if you ask me. I was not the biggest fan of his Batman comic. Definitely not the biggest fan of Williamson's run on Batman. So I am I don't want to say I'm hoping Chip Zdarsky does good, because he's, in my mind, he has proven himself, and I'm very, very positive that his Batman run will be good. I'm hoping it will be. Ryan, I know you were strong, story driven. Who would you recommend I start reading? Jimmy T or someone else? Oh man, that is an enormous question. I would say James Tynion. I'm a big fan, of course, but it depends on what you like. I don't know. I wish I could give a better answer than that. I probably could. I would say James Tynion. Just read. Obviously, you should be reading Something Is Killing the Children. That's a fun, easy recommendation. I don't know if calling it fun is allowed with that title, but it's a fun book. It's a cool comic. But you've probably already read it. This is Poison Ivy #1. I got the B cover by Warren Lau. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but this is a great cover, and this is a great comic. I was a little nervous about the Poison Ivy comic, but this was fun. Again, fun might not be the right word, because this is about Ivy basically realizing that humans just suck, and she is driving around. She's actually heading up to my home turf up here, Seattle, which is terrifying. She's basically cruising around and using that same mushroom fungus infestation that was the source of the virus, the zombie virus from The Last of Us. An awesome video game, which everybody should play. Ivy is basically spreading this parasite fungus infection deliberately. Trying to find, I guess that last page is just really creepy. It was just a really cool book. I was expecting something a little bit more depressing and sad and introspective, and there is a little bit of that. Ivy has been through a lot recently in the various so you can see her blowing dust on somebody and infecting the hell out of them. Ivy's been through a lot, and she's got revenge on the mind in this comic, and it's going in a direction I was kind of nervously thinking they would not go in. A little bit spooky, a little horror focused. This is shaping up to be a revenge story instead of just a what I was prepared for was kind of a lonely sort of processing your grief kind of story. I hope I made sense with that. Poison Ivy #1 was really cool. A little bummed out it's only going to be 6 issues, but we'll see if it's maybe it'll suck and we'll be glad it's only 6 issues. But the first issue I really liked. Venom #8. This is one of the few books in my stack I have not gotten to. I do like the idea here, assuming this cover actually takes place in the book. Kang, I want to see more Kang. I want to learn more about Kang the Conqueror. So I'm excited to see him show up and throw down with Eddie Brock in this book. I don't know if that's Eddie Brock or Dylan Brock technically, but one of them. Venom's an interesting book. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. And it is growing on me issue by issue, but it's going to take a while, I think. I think it's going to take a really long time to grow and fully develop. It's the full story that Al Ewing and Ram V are cooking up. I'm going to show off this t-shirt. I'm excited for this. This is something I should have been doing a long time ago. Yeah, I got the size is correct. It's just very, very compact in this bag. This is a shirt from the homie. Ooh. Yeah. Look at that crown. Oh, I'm excited to wear this. For those of you who do not know, this is John's Comics with Kids. Very, very dear friend of mine, and a fantastic YouTube channel who you should all go subscribe to immediately. I'm excited to wear this shirt, even though in real life no one's gonna know who the hell this is. But it's a good friend, and I'm happy to buy a Goofy t-shirt with his face on it, and I need to do more of that. So I got to keep my eye out for homies with merch. So yeah, that's my shirt. Show it off one more time because he's the king, And the design is on the back as well. So you can get a double dose of John wherever you go. Boom. Okay. I'm going to open this box when I'm done with all my comics. Let's do it. I'm going to do this. This is the one trade that I got this week. I got the second volume of Crossover trade paperback. This is issues 7 through 13. Okay, so this one has that standalone Chip Zdarsky issue number 7 at the beginning, which is fantastic. This book is just a lot of fun. I really loved every issue in this particular collection. Honestly, quite a bit more than the books that were, you can't really see it because it's blurry, but Crossover number, the trade volume 1 is right here behind me. I promise. I think these issues are much more exciting. They deliver on the premise of Crossover and this world a lot more dramatically than the things we got in the first 6 issues. So I think if you're one of the many people who gave up on Crossover relatively early on, go check out trade number 2 especially. I think there's a lot of cool stuff that happens in here, and the last 2 issues of this story arc made several of my recent top 5 comics of the month. I was a very big fan of the double-digit Crossover issues. I don't know exactly which ones, 10, 11, 12, 13. They were all really good. The end of this story arc, really good stuff. Crossover Volume 2. Hi. You can't hang out, kitty. You can't hang out. I'm busy. Maybe later. Where can I put this? I'll put this right here. I also have 2 magazine-size books. I'll get into those in a little bit too. But for now, I'm just going to throw this one up, see what we got. This is Thor 26, part 4 of the Banner of War crossover happening now between Hulk and Thor. More Donny Cates books. This has been a pretty fun crossover event so far. Calling it a crossover event is not accurate. It's a crossover storyline. Event, to me, implies a big event. This is just 2 titles crossing over for a short 4 or 5 issue. I think it's a 5. I think it's a 5 issue little mini story in here. But at the end of the part 3 of this story, which happened in the last Hulk issue, you had this gigantic gamma explosion happen right in Thor's face, which irradiated him and turned Thor into a big Hulk monster in this issue. And it really just boils down to 2 hulked out monsters smashing on each other, but it's fun. This should be everything I hate about comics, and on paper it definitely is. Just 2 big monsters punching each other, which is not my thing, but somehow Donny Cates manages to make it fun and readable. Or maybe I'm just becoming less and less of a stubborn ass. So it's probably not that one. I think it's just Donny Cates being good. I don't want to give myself too much credit. Next book, this is Department of Truth number 18, right? This is 18. This is not new. This is the most recent issue. I think it's 1 to 2 weeks old at this point. I can't remember. But no, this is the blank sketch cover. I don't have a lot of these. I don't know who I would get to draw on this book, but the idea of getting some sort of Department of Truth sketch on here by somebody is too enticing to not have. So I'm saving this for some sort of convention way down the line in the future to get, hopefully, even Martin Simmons. I don't know if he does sketches or if he even does cons, but I did get this Department of Truth t-shirt that I just so happened to be wearing, which is a lot of fun. I enjoy this a lot. It's another one that I don't necessarily look forward to wearing in public. I wore this to a comic book shop today, which is about the only place I can wear this shirt. Thankfully, they don't show him eating a baby on the t-shirt, which I think would be a little, I definitely wouldn't want to wear that in public, but people who know will know this shirt, and that's cool. I just really love Department of Truth. So yeah, that's a blank cover. Time Before Time, issue number 13. This is a little bit of a bummer because Time Before Time has been a low-key favorite book of mine for the last 13 months or so. And a big part of that was because of the artist, Joe Palmer, who is moving on. He's already moved on from this book. Him and Declan Shalvey, I believe, Roy McConville. There's a couple of writers on here, but along with Joe Palmer, they created this story, and Joe Palmer has now moved on to do his own thing. So there's a replacement artist. It's kind of like a Walking Dead scenario, I guess. Like you get somebody who creates the book, and then it very shortly goes off to do a whole different thing, and suddenly a new artist comes on. So maybe this will be like a Walking Dead, and soon I will forget all about whatever weird artist was there in the first place. Joe Who, sure. I don't know. I don't know if I'll feel the same way here. I have not read this one yet. I'm a little nervous to open it up and see what sort of replacement artwork we're going to get in Time Before Time 13. But as long as the story is still good, I will keep getting this book. I will keep happily getting this book. It is a crime family story, but the territories of these crime families are different time periods instead of locations. It's kind of a trippy book to get your head around, but it's fun. I like it a lot. Let's do this big book. What is this? Lion and the Eagle, number 4 from Aftershock. This is a Garth Ennis World War II comic. I still have not read this since issue 1. I've been getting all of them. They're in a big pile right over there, but these are thick, and I've been bad. I've been letting them stack up, and I keep telling myself I'm going to read these. But by the time I finish all of my normal size comics, I kind of want to read something maybe like on the shelf behind me, or read a big stack of books over here that I have that a friend is letting me borrow, a bunch of different trades and stuff. There's another little pile of books over here that's assorted stuff from the last few weeks. I've got this whole table. You can't see it, but this whole table is just various piles of comics. I'm drowning in comics, but it's a great problem to have. Lion and the Eagle, from what I remember from issue 1, this was a really cool book. Very different sort of World War II story, although from what I can remember about the art, it doesn't necessarily need to be a big, oversized book like this, but I won't complain. I like the big books, and as long as I have a bag and board for them, and as long as I have a short box that can hold them, I don't mind. The other one I got, of course, is Aquaman Andromeda, number 1. This is my personal book of the week. Again, there's a handful of stuff I have not read yet, so maybe something else will jump out ahead of Andromeda here, but this book was exactly what I wanted, and I love it. It's a underwater horror comic starring Aquaman, but the creative team here is what really drew me in. It's written by Ram V, who's doing Carnage, who's doing Swamp Thing, who's written a lot of really solid, extremely well-written books, and he's becoming one of those writers who I will just get. I've missed out on too many good Ram V books in the past. So now he's on that list of like, he's writing it, I'm ordering it. It's pretty simple. But also Christian Ward, who did the cover here, he does the interior artwork. I'm just going to show off a little bit of it. It's hard because these magazine books they're hard to fully open. I don't want to like crack the spine so much. I don't want to open it too wide, but they're also just produced really well. I love the, you might be able to see it better on the front, but the reflectiveness, the matte texture only on Aquaman, the flat texture on him, and the rest of the book is reflective. It probably doesn't pick up very well on camera, but in person, this just feels. I love the Black Label stuff, the big oversized stuff. It really gets me. But no, Christian Ward is a really good artist who does a lot of. He does a lot of like sci-fi stuff. He's done outer space kind of comics before with trippy colors. That's kind of what he's known for, I would say. Really cool color work, but this is when I knew that this comic was going to be my jam, because I'm a big H.P. Lovecraft fanboy, and you got this like soldier being dragged into the mist behind him here, which I chose to interpret as a direct homage to the movie The Mist, based off the book written by Stephen King, which deals with a lot of similar monsters with tentacles and attacks happening on people all over the world. But this comic, man, you got this squid monster attacking a ship here. It's just very, oh, yeah, that title page. I don't know how well this will come off on camera, but if you still have these at your shop anywhere, I personally would recommend reading the hell out of this. This was fun. This was exactly what I was hoping it would be. And I see Mr. Mayor says, almost bought that today. I would fix that mistake as soon as you possibly can. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is already on my list that I'm mentally preparing for my favorite comics on the month of June. I've got a little list going already, and this is on there. It's on there. So right now, as of 2 weeks into, we've had 2 new comic book days of the month so far. This is currently my favorite book of the month. Until another book can come along and knock it off the top, this might just be my number 1 book of the month. I like it that much. Andromeda is a lot of fun. Love Green Hell. Yeah, Swamp Thing Green Hell. I've heard that got canceled. I don't know if that's 100% true or not, but it has been over 6 months, I think, since the last issue came out, and there's been no news on that one way or the other. But I heard it got canceled. I hope it didn't, because Swamp Thing Green Hell was a fantastic book, and I really want the rest of those issues. But read this instead. Worst case scenario, read this instead. Is it Black Label, Josh? Yes. Yes, that is a Black Label book. We only had 2 copies of this on our shelf today at the shop. They're both gone. So we have no more copies of Aquaman Andromeda over at Mill Geek Comics. Hopefully, there's other ones out in the world. Hello, Agu. I've only got 4 books left. So you got here right at the end. I got 4 books. I'm trying to not see what they are, although actually I remember what the bottom one was from when I flipped the stack upside down. So I'm just going to mess with these. Did the Black Label Dark Knight get canceled? One Dark Knight? No. The problem with the Black Labels, with these Black Label books, the oversized ones, is they, at least, best case scenario, they come out every 2 months. More often than not, it feels like they come out whenever they're ready, which is why this Swamp Thing series is so frustrating, because I don't know if it is canceled or just taking a really long time for them to make the following 2 issues. But there's usually at least a month in between issues of these bigger size DC comics, which is unfortunate, because this book from Aftershock, Lion and the Eagle, same exact proportions. This sucker comes out every month. This is a normal comic book, just large. There's no issues getting this one out. That being said, the art in here is nowhere near the extra level that the DC Black Label stuff has, but still a little frustrating. Swamp Thing needs to hurry up. Yeah, I feel the same way about Swamp Thing Green Hell as I do about George R.R. Martin's next Game of Thrones book, which we've been waiting for like 11 years now. So I just don't think that's coming. I don't know if Swamp Thing Green Hell's coming. I'm kind of, every time I look up when the next issue comes out, it's just, I don't know. Somebody can find out, hopefully, and let me know in the comments after I'm done. But I think that book might be done. One and done. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, this is After School from Skybound. I don't remember a lot of what happens in here. This was I think this was the last book I read last night before I fell asleep, meaning I don't remember what happens. I was under the impression that this was a young adult, like teen-friendly beginner horror book, but it's not. This was a little darker than I was expecting. I remember a scene of an autopsy in here. There's a disemboweled frog in this book. There is a cut open human being on like an autopsy table. I'm trying to remember a lot of other stuff that happens in here. And her dog, I think, is an alien or like a robot or some sort of not real dog. It's an interesting book, and I believe it's an anthology. I don't know if that's accurate or not. I need to read this again, is the bottom line. But I think these are going to be one shot, standalone issues in this. I'm assuming it's a miniseries. I don't know how long this book is going on for. I don't know a whole lot about After School, but there you go. There's the answer. Wouldn't it be ordered at Mill Geek? Are you referring to Swamp Thing, Mr. Mayor? Feels like I'm an angry citizen addressing the mayor in his office. Where's my Swamp Thing? Wouldn't it be ordered at Mill Geek? Yep. We don't have that one ordered. We have people. It was in the catalog a while ago. I believe people have placed orders for it, but I don't think it's coming out. I haven't. I've tried looking it up online as like a customer and as a employee, and both times they say release date. Either they just say TBD, to be decided, or the date is something like next week, and then next week comes, and I check again, and the date is the following week. And I've checked that a few times when people come into the shop and ask me when that book comes out, which has happened with some people in this chat right now. I'll check, and the date is just different. The date is very near future, but it just keeps. It's clearly like some kind of placeholder thing. It's just not. I don't know where that book is. I don't know what's happening. I would like to. If I had Twitter, I would maybe check Jeff Lemire's Twitter. Maybe somebody has asked him on there. I'm not a big social media person, just on Instagram, but maybe Jeff Lemire or Doug Mankey. I never know how to pronounce his name, but the artist of Green Hell. One of the two of them, or maybe DC Comics. I don't know. Somebody should know. I should know, but I don't know. Flashpoint Beyond. This is issue number 2 of 6. It's kind of weird that this is happening at the same time as Dark Crisis because they both feel like big DC events. But I think this book is slipping under the radar when you stack it up next to Dark Crisis because that is a much bigger scale kind of event comic. This one definitely just functions as a sequel to Flashpoint. Which is cool. I mean, it's cool to get a sequel to something that was, 10 years old, 11 years old, Flashpoint. It's been a while, and it's what I wanted it to be. I feel like I say that a lot in this review process. Yeah, there's some freaky stuff in here involving, I think it's Two-Face's wife, Mrs. Dent. I don't remember her first name, but she clearly mashes her face up on this broken glass window here and makes herself Two-Face in this pretty freaky sequence from this issue. It's just such a direct sequel to Flashpoint that I really feel like I need to pull that book down and read it more. I read it right before this series launched, but that's been a few months. And for me, a few months is it's like it never happened. There are some hints that I picked up on. I don't know if I'm wrong reading too much into it, but there were a couple of hints in my opinion in this issue teasing Dr. Manhattan again. I know Jeff Johns is the writer of Doomsday Clock, which was the Watchmen books crossing over into the DC universe. There are a couple uses of this particular shade of light blue in the background that is Dr. Manhattan's kind of skin color in Watchmen. Maybe they are less obscure hints than I'm thinking. I don't know if that even counts as a hint since it is just a background color choice, but I also specifically remember a shot of a watch tick-tocking, and the tick-tock sound effect was in that exact same light blue. That could have been issue 1 because I read both issues back to back. Yeah, I'm not seeing it here. I don't know. I also never finished Doomsday Clock, so I can't say for sure what happens at the end of that book. I am getting the absolute Doomsday Clock. It'll eventually be right around here somewhere when I finally receive that and open it up. I'm looking forward to reading Doomsday Clock all at once because I read the first few issues. I quite liked it. I am a big Jeff Johns fanboy, however, so I was probably going to enjoy this book regardless of how little I know about Psycho Pirate down here, for example, or how not as familiar as I want to be, I am with the actual Flashpoint comic itself. So I think for a very particular kind of reader, this Flashpoint Beyond story will. It's hard for me not to compare it to Dark Crisis because they're two big kind of event things happening at the same time at DC. I prefer Flashpoint Beyond. It's a little more narratively focused. Dark Crisis is kind of just a. It feels so far like it's like it's got that superhero event feeling, like it's ordered from on high, like the corporate heads are demanding that all the toys play with each other for a little bit in the summertime and then get packed back into their separate boxes. Flashpoint Beyond is much more focused. Last two books in this pile. Okay, this is Astronaut Down, #1 from Aftershock. This was exactly what it was solicited as. You have a planet that is undergoing a I don't even know if you can call it a climate emergency necessarily, but they are facing a they had a pretty cool picture of it. Some kind of like poison or something is in fact affecting the world they live in. Yeah, you can kind of see it here. And they are basically just walled off in their little small section of the city while the rest of the world is just, I don't know if it's drowned, if it's covered in like toxic gas or something, but basically outside of this little area, they can't live. And there are several cities like this spread all over the world. But other than that, the entire world is basically toast. And the premise of this book is you have these 3 astronauts being trained to launch off and try and find a new instead of a new planet to live in, they are going off into different like multiverses. They're different planes of the multiverse, different other realities, and trying to find a different one they can shift the whole planet into to save the human race. This book in particular ends with a really interesting twist. I don't know if a twist ending is the right way to say it, but all throughout this issue, there are a couple cutaway panels in the middle of a conversation where you can tell it's a completely different scene. It's a completely different character that you're listening to. And they're just saying something that doesn't make any sense. You're basically just pulled out of your normal story for one panel and then thrown right back into it. That happens a couple times throughout this issue, and it doesn't make any sense until you get to the end. I don't want to spoil it, but I thought that was a cool through line throughout this comic. Hi. Don't do that. All right, last book on here. Doomsday Clock is underrated. The psychologist's son as Rorschach. Spoilers? I haven't read it yet. Mike and Marionette were awesome. Superman versus Dr. Manhattan physically and philosophically was a hella awesome. I read like the first 2 issues, and I remember the marionette person. It's a good thing I'm forgetful because I'll forget that you spoiled it for me just a little bit. My cat is desperately begging for pets, but it's not going to happen. The next book, actually, this is the last book on here. This is Amazing Spider-Man #3. I have been pretty down on the first 2 issues of this comic. The combination of just really bad John Romita Jr. artwork mixed with the storyline that was kind of just boring. It was a bad combination of gross and boring. And the first 2 issues really just put me in a bad place. So I think due to that, those first 2 issues putting me so far down, I think it kind of made something change in issue 3 here. I don't know if it's me just getting used to the characters, the storyline, the crisis that is currently happening to, Peter Parker stuff is going on, obviously. Starting to grow on me a little bit. This one did not hurt to read as much as the first 2. It's still not very good. It's still not my favorite Spider-Man I have read in recent years. But this is a small step in the right direction compared to issues #1 and 2 from the start of this run. But yeah, Amazing Spider-Man. If I were to pick any book to cancel on my pull list, that one would be pretty high on the list of like emergency Gotta cancel. I gotta cut 5 books from my pull list. What are they? Spider-Man would easily be one of those 5, without hesitation. I just don't. I don't know if I don't know if I like Spider-Man, like ongoing Spider-Man comics. It might just not be my thing. But what is my thing is gigantic comic books, which is what is in this box. I received this Thursday or Friday. Like, again, this happened last week. I opened Absolute Swamp Thing Volume 3. I opened that on this live show last week, and that arrived like the day after the last live show before that. These packages are arriving and I have to let them sit here, which sucks because I want to open it. I ordered this book a while ago, and I really want to read it. And I just had it sitting here on the shelf staring at me. This box took a pretty hard crunch here in the corner, so I'm we'll see. We'll see how intact the book on the inside is. We shall see. The last issue of Doomsday Clock makes the rest of the journey worth it. Yeah, I'm a little nervous to read Doomsday Clock. I've heard so many negative critiques of it, but I have a soft spot for Jeff Johns, also for Watchmen, and the first 2 issues that I did read, I really liked. I thought he did a good balance between DC and Watchmen stuff. It worked for me. Okay. It's got this weird, this kind of packing material in here. It's like a paper sponge. We'll see how well that works. What's the bad corner? Where'd the damage come in? I was down here. Wow, I'm doing this so poorly, you guys. Okay. I think we're good. We'll see again, because they ship them in a little box. Again, this is for me. I don't plan on like reselling this or anything, so I'm not going to be like heartbroken if there is damage on this. Ooh. Ooh. I'm extra excited for this because I only read these stories one time, and I read them digitally. I read them really fast, which basically, again, is a recipe for me just not remembering. So, yeah, I'm excited for this. This is Absolute Green Lantern, Green Arrow, Adams and O'Neill. I picked this up. I pulled the trigger on this the day that Neil Adams passed away, which feels like forever ago. I'm trying to find the corner that got smudged on the outside box. And yes, I just used the word smudged. I don't think that's a word, but I'm going with it. I can't see any real damage on one of these corners, which is a good sign. It was very well protected, but it also had a pretty gnarly crunch on there. And because I'm such a Green Lantern fan, that's the main reason I grabbed this book. And I remember reading this story digitally, and I did enjoy it, but I tend to mostly just read newer stuff. And this falls outside of my, I don't want to call it my comfort zone, but outside of my window of focus, of specialization or whatever. But seeing that it's such a important Green Lantern storyline, and just I was feeling it when Neil Adams passed. It made me realize, ooh, that's cool. It made me realize that there's a whole lot of comic stuff that I am just unfamiliar with. Oh, that's cool. They like grabbing each other. I need to learn more about comics, especially ones that aren't 2005 or so onward. That's about where I draw my line. Anything before 2005, I'm not really into. But I don't know. I was just feeling it that day, and seeing how strongly his passing impacted so many people on Instagram and all over the comic book community. I felt obliged to finally grab this Absolute. I've had my eye on it for a while. I just never pulled the trigger. It was always just kind of sitting there. I left a tab open with it on my Chrome, so I would remember to that I wanted it. It just took that unfortunate day for me to finally make that call, and then it took a while for this book to get back in stock because the world sucks. So I finally got it. I finally got this today. I wish I had the time to just crack it open and read it right now. I still have several of my books from my haul today to read. I read most of these, so I could probably knock the rest of these out tonight after I finish here. But yeah, that was my haul this week. I got this Green Arrow Green Lantern Absolute Edition. I got a couple of big books, as in magazine books. Those are fun. I haven't read this one yet, but I'm pretty sure I'll like it. Crossover Trade Paperback Volume 2. And I also got a t-shirt with John's Comics with Kids' face on it, but I threw it on my bed over there. So I'm not going to go get that. I mean, I will, but I'm not on camera. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. I am going to stretch the spine of this bad boy and then pop it on the shelf where you will see it on camera behind me forever. That's another thing I like about doing these videos. I like looking behind me and seeing the progression of my shelf. If you go back on my Instagram, I took a picture of the day I got these new bookshelves. I took a photo of how they looked right when I set them up. So that was January. That was the beginning of this year, and I like the progression. I've added on so many books since then, and when I first got those shelves, I think I was right around here or so, and now you can't even really see it, but this little hole down here is almost full all the way. There's 3 different absolutes in this last section of the alphabet, which kind of sucks. They're going to be gone forever as far as the camera is concerned, but now I'm just rambling. Thank you guys for hanging out. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. That's what you're supposed to do. Leave a comment if you want. Let me know what books I missed out on this week, because I know there's something I missed out on. I'm not reading Twig, and I kind of regret skipping that book, among others. I'm sure there's others that I missed out on, but I have a big enough pull list as it is. So that being said, I'm going to end this live stream, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your Wednesday or Thursday if you're on the East Coast.